Hi friends, welcome back. I am Wicked Crafty Mom, and you are not currently on my robot arm. There's my robot arm. There's my robot arm. Because I'm showing you really quickly that I've adjusted some things. This is my paper box. This is where my scraps are going. And I've got my clips are here. I've got my book pages here. I have my carousel here. But I've been thinking today that I'm going to switch these two and move my paper to here to be more accessible, because I don't use this in its spot. I can pull anything out. So if I can do that from there, that's fine. And then this is the cover of the ephemera holder that I made, and this part probably isn't going to stay. I'm probably going to buy a brand new one, but I wanted to see if I could make this work. This headband that I got from Dollar Tree didn't have enough length to get all the way around, so I simply added this to see if that would work, and it did. And so I thought this looked an awful lot like a doorknob, and so I made it to look like a doorknob, and it stretches around all the way around the back, da-da-da, and then to the other side, and then to the front. So I am going to pause this. So this is my tea, my Thai tea, and I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to put the camera where it belongs, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I totally just realized that I didn't have my microphone hooked up this whole time, but that's fine because I do now. All right. Okay, so maybe I'm off. I should have focused this first, but I was so excited to come back. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, this is better. All right, sorry about that. All right, it's been a little bit since I filmed. I have been cleaning, I have been reorganizing, thus show you my updated this space thing that I did. Mostly this box was the big deal, because it feels a lot brighter now that I had some paints that were over here cluttered. Excuse me. Yum. I had some paints over here that looked cluttered because it was a see-through bin, and I just wasn't using what was in that container. And so what I'm trying to do is surround myself with the stuff that is being used on a regular basis, and then so that stuff is closer to me. Oh, this was the other thing. Hold on, totally forgot to do this. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna pause it again. Okay, puke cam again, but oh, here's the thing. I reorganized my desk because my mommy gave me this. And because my mom gave me this, I tried, whoops, I'm tangling things up here. I tried setting it up, and I did, and I was able to make it so everything on here fits, and it can spin freely as long as I don't have this here. It can spin freely, and all of my tools are accessible in a way that they weren't before. And it just looks much cleaner and more streamlined. So I'm very, very excited. And then there's my Pepe hanging out. Okay. And then we're back to robot arm. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so that whole thing, that last carousel that I showed off, is why I revamped my desk. Because I wanted to have access to it and make sure that it's good to go. Okay, so what we're going to do today, now that I've shown off my craft area again, is we're going to make a book like the one I showed you earlier. This one, I'm going to... Oh, this is the example that I have right now. Terry, if you're watching, hi. Okay, so I put my words in it. And I am, because this is because this was so much tighter earlier, I kind of bent the snot out of the cover here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and reinforce it with something behind here, probably some cardboard or something like that, and build up some layers here just for that purpose. I'm also going to do that on the back cover for the same reason. So this one is where I'm keeping all of my words and phrases and numbers, so that's where I'm keeping those. So what I need now is let's see if this works. I think I had it, yeah. Hold on, we're going to try a different, just a second, we're going to experiment. Okay, I'm going to unhook this one. I am going to unhook this one, I say. Okay, we're going to hook this one up. Let's see. Shall we? We shall. Okay, let's see if this will do it. Is this too much? It is too much. So what are we going to do? We are going to, I didn't tie this. This is just a piece of book page layered and layered and layered. I think I'm going to glue it, maybe with some hot glue so that it will stay up. Or maybe with some silicone glue. Either way. So I want it to pull a little bit, but not all the way. I want it to be snug, and I'll be able to move it if I need to, hopefully. So I'm going to stick it under there, like that. Okay, so that's good. All right, so this one, now that I've figured out how to keep it together, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. Okay, so that's going to give us 20 page surfaces. And so I've still got some room to grow in this, which is good and exactly what I want. And I am going to basically make this. That's what we're doing. We're making this pretty much. This I had cut out. I don't know if I want to add it to the back or not. I'm not sure. It's getting very loud in my living room because I told them I was filming, so clearly it's rowdy time. All right, so here's what you need to do what I'm doing, the way I'm doing it. And there are other ways to do it. This is the way I'm doing it today, okay? I picked a thicker piece of paper for the cover, okay? I've also got tracing paper. I found this at Goodwill, $2, and there's lots of paper in it. And I'm going to be using this paper to make my pockets because, ready? Ready? Look at this. Oops. It's see-through. Now I have another piece of tracing paper over here that I was originally going to use, but it's just so much denser. And I want to be able to see to some extent through my pockets for this particular project. So I do have my pad of paper over behind me. So tracing paper, but in this one, I just used scraps of paper that I had to make the pockets. And so I've got my cover and I've got 5 pieces of paper here. Actually, you know what? I think I'll use this one for the cover. I wasn't going to, but I realized it's double-sided and I really like that. So I was going to have it be this tall, so I can do that anyway. And I can straighten this edge right out too. Alright, so I'm gonna tear it at the purple. Yeah, the purple line there. Clever me. There is a purple line there, but I'm going to use the peach line, and I'm not really sure why I thought I needed to call it purple. Okay, don't know if you can see. Don't know if we're in. Oh, we are. We're good. And we're 10 minutes in. Okay, we're good. So I'm going to move this because I'm not using it right now. And gives me more room to play. Okay, I've been organizing. I've been doing all sorts of stuff. Also, just for the record, so we're clear, I'm a unicorn today. Okay. I feel like that's important. All right, look at all this space. Okay. So I'm going to tear at this peach line. And this is going to be the outside of my cover. And this is going to be the inside. Now, I don't want it this as wide as it was going to be if I just folded it in half. So I am going to, this is what I want my book to look like. This is the cover, so I'm going to, this is the size my book is going to be. So I am going to now tear this. Okay, ta-da! Here's the cover. Now I've got this piece, which needs to be smaller than this piece. So I am going to take about an inch off the top. Okay. That'll work. That much? Let's see. I'm going to double check it. Nope. Let's take a little more off. No, that's good. That's good. That's good. We're good. Okay. This is a thick piece of paper as well, and that's why I was planning on using it as the cover. But it'll work as a page as well. I got my scraps. Okay. So I've got page 1, and this is my measuring. I want it a little smaller than the cover. So, ta-da! It's not much smaller, but it's some smaller. Where'd my scissors go? Here you are. Okay. So, all right. That is good. It lines up, but I'm okay with that. Okay. So now I've got these. Whoops. So the other paper I didn't want to use. Okay, so now I've got these.
I gotta go upstairs.
And I've got this. Okay, I'm filming, honey.
Yeah, upstairs.
Okay, you're going to go upstairs?
Yep.
All right, I love you.
Love you.
Bye. Okay. So, right. Now, this is going to be my template for the rest of the pages, which will hypothetically make it easier, but you know, maybe not. Let's use the ruler. I like the ruler. Okay, right now I'm just fitting my pages. I'm not worrying about which order they're going to be in yet. Any of that stuff. Just, oops. Did I? Oh, this one's too tall. Okay. So I shrink it a little bit. Take out my shrink gun. Basically anywhere below here is fine. So I'm going to cough. Excuse me for just a second. I had a tickle. Alright, much better. Okay. So, still using this as a guide. And this is like, this isn't how I always do it, but it's working this time. And that's kind of how I do things. Is it working today? Yes. Do we need to change it? No. This one I'm going to have issues with now that I've said that it's working. It's not going to work, but that's okay. Dun-dun-dun. Wow. Nope, it's a little crooked. Little bit crooked. Why are we crooked? Don't be crooked. Don't be crooked. Okay. It's better. Is that better? I don't know. I'm worrying about this a lot. I'm sorry. It's silly, but it's me. Alright. I'm going to smush them all down later, but let's see. I'm going to do it this way. It's weird because I can sit here crafting all day, but as soon as I set up the camera, which I like doing, don't get me wrong. I mean, nobody's making me do this. I'm making my family succumb to the fact that I'm doing this. But as soon as I turn the camera on, I get all self-conscious. And I feel like, I mean, obviously this is a project I'm doing to show a friend how I made them. Oops. Oops, oops. Okay. Which I like, but I'm feeling all kinds of, whoops. Let's do it this way, because this one looks like this edge looks like it's flat, and this edge does not. So, I'm gonna make it flat like this. There we go. And then I'm going to tear, and here's why I'm tearing it the way I'm tearing it. Tearing it this, whoops, I made it a little long. That's fine. I can take some off. But when I cut this, see, I've got this long, whoops, just kidding. When I cut this one, see, I've got this long strip. This was this. So now I've got this nice long piece that I can work with later as well. So, here's that. Okay. And these are cute. Like this little piece here can be used to make a border or something like that. I'm tearing this one because I suspected it was not going to tear well or easily the other way. You can use them as a little border on a tag or something like that. Okay. You go over here. You stay here. So this is a Phoebe page. This is Phoebe, Miss Phoebe Beebe got to it and chomped it. So, but that's okay. Because I can still use the paper, and I think I'm going to do a collage of things that she's nibbled on. Okay. I know this is backwards from the last one, but I'm okay with that too. All right, let's see. Dun, da, da, da. Dun, da, da, dun, dun. There we go. And one more. Okay. Now, you do not have to rip these. I am ripping them. I like ripping stuff, and I like the sound it makes. And that is about as creative as it gets. So, you don't have to, whoops. Oh, that's the cover. That's on purpose. Okay. So you do not have to rip. You can cut. You can use a cutter, like a paper cutter, like whatever you want to do. Okay, so here's my cover. Here's my papers. Got one page, 2-page, and I don't really, truly care which way they go, except that I like to kind of, I don't care which one's going where, I just want to alternate which side the white side is on. So, for example, now you're gonna see the colored side this time, and now the white side, like that. Okay. Just because that's the way I like it. All right, so now that I've got that, I didn't even like squish I said I was going to, and then I did not. So I was a liar. Let's see. But now that they're backwards, I definitely should. Okay. So I didn't worry about which order the pages were in. I didn't worry about... This one's fine. I didn't worry about any of that stuff. Let's squish you. Squish, squish, squish. Okay. This'll work. Don't care. Alright, so now they are all folded and they all fit inside one another like this. Okay. So, I'm going to clip these. You do not have to, but you can use clothespins, you can use paper clips, you can use whatever you got handy. These are markers that we used for our Dungeons and Dragons game. Okay. I'm just going to clip this right in here. Make sure that the crease is lined up. Clip you. Clip you. Okay, there's that. All prepped. Ready to go. Now, this is not the one I want. Okay, you can use whatever needle you want. 1000% you can. I prefer this big one when I'm binding because I can easily punch a hole with my awl that is big enough for this to pass through. So, somewhere, because I was cleaning, so I have no idea where it is where. I have some foam to punch on, but I don't know where it is. So, I'll use this cloth. This will work. Okay. Where'd my foam go? Oh, I found it. I found it. Haha. Okay. This is just a piece of foam I got from some packaging. Ta-da. Here. Okay. Now, I got my big thick needle over here. I'm going to thread it. One of the reasons I really dig this needle is because it's easy to thread. Especially when I'm doing... So I'm going to measure 3 lengths of this book. 1, 2, 3. Which will give me extra, and I'll cut it off and use it elsewhere. It's going to give me a lot of extra, actually. But I do it because that's how I was taught to do it. So, maybe 2.5. You could probably do 2.5. Maybe actually that's how I was originally taught. Okay. Hole here. Hole here. Hole here. I made 3 holes on the spine. Now, I've got them poked through already, right? But I'm making them a little bit bigger because I want my needle to fit through. Now, it has a very blunt tip, so it can't really easily push its way through anything. It's really a pain if you try to make it do that. That's why I make my holes so big. I don't need a tail because this isn't embroidery. And I know how to do this without a tail. Okay. So now I just sew it through. Dun da da da. It'll just take a second. Almost done. I'm gonna tell you what I did is just in case, because I did it fast, because I have done binding videos previously. So what I did was I went, so this is the middle of the book. I went out through the center hole, came up to the top, went in through the top, went all the way down to the bottom one, skipped the middle entirely, went out the bottom, and then I came back in the middle. And what you saw me doing was I had come up and jammed into, the needle had come up through, jammed into one of these threads. So what I did was made sure that that hadn't happened. So making sure that they were untangled and not one through the other. Okay. All right. So now I've got this. Okay. I've got a nice flat surface now. Nothing's, you know, messing with my binding process. And I'm just going to pull it tightish. I think that's tight enough. And let's see. Suddenly forgot how to like use my fingers and make knots. So cool. All right. So there's a double knot there. So this is the biggest hurdle. See, and I've got the strings, which is fine. Actually, I am going to cut the strings. Cut. Because I'm making so there are a lot of times where I'm learning that binding after you've finished your signature is a good way to go. Putting all the details in first. What I liked about doing it this way was seeing it all together. I can make margins for my pockets that are not going to go too far and like be in the cracks and stuff. Now that everything's bound, I know where everything is. So, all right, let's open it up. And, all right, so what I've got here is my tracing paper, and I am going to mark a little ways in so that I make pockets that are just like maybe 1/4 of an inch around each edge. Excuse me, I got a cough again. I'm sorry. I just kind of guesstimate. So I'm lining. I know. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm lining up my marks on this line because it'll make it easier to mark or line up my ruler. Okay. So I've got this strip. Now this strip will serve as a guide. And just for reference, I eyeballed it, but this is about 4.5 inches, 4 3/4 ish. And I'm just kind of eyeball lining it up again with the edge here. Whoops. Or I am unlining it up. Honkin' noggin, sorry. Okay, there we go. All right, and I'm going to use this for pockets as well. Okay, so now I have a couple batches of pockets that should fit nicely. See the border here? Okay. So, put that away. If you don't have an awl, you can buy them very cheaply. You can use a needle that will go through paper. You can use the tip of a knife. You could use a pin. You could use, there's a lot of ways to make those holes if you don't have an awl. So, there's that too. Right. Okay. So now I want to make my pockets, and I am looking to make my pockets just, let's go with the width of the ruler as a guide. That works. Let's do that. So I'm just lining it up, and I'm just going to tear it all the way down like that. This one's trying to tear on its own here. Let's see. Okay. And I just keep doing this until I've got all my, until I'm out of paper. And I am okay with the jaggedy edges of tearing this. I honestly think that it will, I think it'll help stuff stay in, but I'm not, I have nothing to back that theory up. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with what we've got here in just a second. So I am going to break this. I'm going to probably put, I'm going to leave this pocket because it is, if I trim it down, then I'm going to have this strip of, like, very small strip of paper to work with, and I can just use the bigger as the pocket, the bigger piece. Okay. So now I'm going to take my, this is my Elmer's glue all in my art glitter glue case or container. This has a metal tip on it. That's why I put it in here. And I added a few drops of water, very few drops of water. And it loosened it up enough that it comes out just like art glitter glue does. So, and it dries just as quickly. So that's a thing you can keep for information. All right, so I am going to have 3 pockets. Am I? Or am I going to have 4? No, I'm going to have 3 because I want to leave some room at the top so that it's, because this is a pocket, so I don't want all my stuff hanging out the top like this. I want it to be down some so that it will hold stuff and not have it flapping all out in the breeze. All right, so because I ripped it and I've got these little, I wasn't expecting these little, paper boogers. So some of them are just curly cues. They're almost like sawdust from tearing it, so I'm just removing those. Okay. Now, where'd my glue book go? Here it is. I was hiding it from myself. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to check the time. Then we'll go from there. 33 minutes. We've still got a while. At some point, I may have to pause it and finish up my pockets and then come back to you. But basically, the rest of the video is pretty much going to be this. And we'll get in, I guess, as many of these pockets as we can in the next 30 minutes. So I am using my glue, and I'm using some. It's wrinkling up my paper a little bit, but I don't really care about that. I'm noticing it because you'll see it on camera, but that's not a big deal to me. That doesn't bother me at all. Alright. I could probably put more glue on here than what I'm putting, But I am relatively confident after the success that I had with that journal so far that this will be an okay amount of glue. And I don't know if it's hard to see on camera because everything that I'm working with right now is clear or white. We'll see. I think it'll show up much better when I start working on other colored pages. Okay. So, what I'm going to show you in a second, this is going to be for my labels. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put my labels in here because this is for my labels. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to show you some variations on what I'm doing right now. So there are a couple. This is just little strips that I made, much smaller than the ones that I'm using today. And I just glued around the edges, you know, 3 edges, and I put them very close together. I wanted to see how it would work with my words, and it worked really, really well because I have a lot of words that I cut out and they were very small, and I was losing them in bigger pockets. So pockets like this. So I was losing them in there. So now that I've got everything separated out and I've got this front spot here of places for little words, I'm digging that. So then I've got different, you know, the rest are pretty much the same size pockets. And this is a little bit of a bigger book, so there's a little more room. But I use book pages, I use scraps of paper for this journal. And scraps of paper for the paper in this one too. So, I called it a journal. It's my ephemera book. Okay. So I wanted to show you can make bigger pockets too. You can make half-page pockets if you want. You can make full-page pockets if you want. Like, what you do and how you, you know, how you do it is up to you. Let's see, there was a thing I wanted to say. Oh, here's the thing I wanted to say. The thing I wanted to say was I was watching Pam at the Paper Outpost and Gail Agostinelli, and I've been watching, you know, Rachel from Roxy Creations. I've been watching them all with their ephemera holders, and I was so confused because if you look at their ephemera holders, they are crammed full of stuff. And I don't know if you noticed, but mine is now too. And here's why. So I could not for the life of me figure out how to make mine get so much stuff in them. But what I was doing was I was sticking stuff in it stacked. You know, like taking a stack of cards like this, right? So I got a bunch of them. And I would take them and I would stick them in like this. Well, that's why my pockets were busting out, because the glue wasn't holding them, because this was too thick. So what I figured out is if you take them and you spread them out like this in the pocket, and then you do it again, whatever, you can fit way more stuff in there. I've got so many layers in my, oops, forgot to glue. Boogers. I've got so many layers in my words folder, and they are crammed quite full, and I'm very happy with that. So if you stagger them and spread them out and don't just stick them in a stack, you won't bust out your pockets. And once they started getting a little more tricky for me to put in, that's when I stopped loading the pocket. Go to the next one. So I have a ton of labels that I've been cutting out and printing off, and I would like to have one specific place for them to be I've also got to make one of these for my nature stuff because the journal, let me try that again. It's not a journal. The photo album that I'm using is a little trickier to navigate than what I want. Here was another thing that I saw. Saw Gail Augustinelli, and she had scissors, tweezers like this, and she was using them to take butterflies in and out. So if you have a deeper pocket, I got these at the dollar store. I got a set of these tweezers over near like the tools and stuff, and so they came in different. I got this one that if you squeeze it, it opens, and these ones, if you squeeze them, they close. And so there's all sorts of different options that I can use too. And so I picked them up at the dollar store. It was like a set of like 4 or more. I don't know. I'm not pulling them all out to look right now, but it's a thing. Okay. Make some more pockets. Okay. And so it's going to take a while to do all these, and that is because 20 surfaces is a lot of pockets. So if you put 3 on each one, then you're looking at 60 pockets. So it's going to take a minute to put 60 pockets on this. You know, and then there's like, if you do it, 2, 3, I probably have about 9 or 10 pockets on that one page, that front page. So it's going to depend on how big you make your book. It's going to depend on how big you make your pockets. All of that factors in. Okay. I'm going to keep using up this paper. I'm going to check my time. Very paranoid about the time. 40. We got 20 minutes left. I seem to check every 10 minutes. Now I won't check again until we're at like an hour and 15 minutes. And you're all yelling at me. No, you don't yell at me. Okay. So you can use any glue too. I use the Elmer's Glue All because I've got a gallon of it, because I bought a gallon of it. So I use that a lot because that's what I have. But you could use like Elmer's white glue. No problem. No problem. Alright, so I am going to tear this. This is that strip that was left that I said we'll still use it. Well, this is us still using it. And I'm going to keep this big because I like that big pocket. I'll throw it in there somewhere. Okay. Now, can I get 2 out of this? Oh, it looks like I can. I didn't realize that. Cool. Did not notice that I could get it. Alright, now we'll make sure this one's the right length. I don't know why I'm tearing these. I'm just gonna, this is good. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm gonna cut it because it seems like it makes sense at this point. Okay, so I got more pockets. More pockets, friends. Okay, big pockets. Okay, so I'm not going to glue on my glue book. I guess I don't really need it because I'm not like gluing with glue stick. So I'm not getting it everywhere. Okay. Alright. So I'm just going to do this about 50 more times. And then I'll have a spot for my labels to go. Now, one thing Gail Augustinelli does, and I really love it, is she has tabs on her she has tabs dividing by designer. I don't have enough for those yet, I don't think, to have a whole section of several pages per designer. However, I mean, I do have a good amount, but I think what I'm going to do is make these, and then I can sew them together, bind them together as my collection grows, and rearrange them as needed. So that is my plan, to just kind of, this is a book right now on its own right, but it can also be a signature in a larger work. So there. That'll teach it. Okay. Alright, so I don't even remember the last time I filmed. I have been I'm just going to talk to you now while I'm doing this stuff. Because it's basically, from this point, it's just glue and stick pockets. You can sew them. I have seen them sewn. I've sewn them myself. I have a hard time lining up both sides if I'm going to sew 2 pockets on one page. If I'm going to stick 2 pages together, I can sew the pockets on this one, sew the pockets on this one, and then sew the pages together. But that's not, I don't want that, because that's going to add a lot of extra bulk. So I just want my thin pages, single thickness for now. And if that changes at some point, that changes at some point. These things are awesome. The thing that I love the most about junk journaling is if you don't like it, you can fix it until you do. So if I end up finding out that this thing isn't as versatile and as wonderful as I think it is in the future, I can make another one. And then I can use this for parts. So, I mean, that's pretty convenient. I can take all of these pages and I can use them for scraps anytime I want. So, you know, make sure you're hearing that, pages, because if I'm unhappy with you, I'll use you as scrap whenever I want. What'd you do on your video today? Oh, I threatened my paper. Intimidating it. Okay. Big pocket. Little pocket. This is not super... So you can sew the pockets on. You can do that if you want to do it. Sew each page and then sew the pages together. Sew pockets on each page, sew the pages together so that you've got pocket sides out. You can stick pages together to make big pockets. So you could stitch or glue, which apparently forms stew, these edges and have a pocket here. But I am just going to stick with straight up pockets that I'm going to fill with ephemera. So I do like to let these dry for a little bit because this glue is a white liquid glue. And even though it grabs super fast and super well, I like to not test it right off the bat. Because I have done that and it's really frustrating when right after you make a book it falls apart or the pieces don't stay glued together like you want it to. Or the pockets pop off. Pop and pockets. Alright. So, there. So basically this is all I'm gonna do. But if you want to, any of this can be sewn, any of it can be glued. I actually am planning on making another one of these at some point with sewing. So I'll do that again at some point. I am getting much more detail oriented about trying to have a nice professional finish for a lot of things. I've been working. I'm pretty happy. We had a distant gift exchange. My brother and my sister and my dad and I, outside, distanced with masks and no contact. And we stayed more than 6 feet apart, actually. And it was nice to see them. I don't believe I've seen them since early fall, if not late summer. I can't remember exactly. So it was nice to just kind of see most of their faces. Of course, they had masks on, so I didn't see all their faces. All right, so as I said, we've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 pages. And we've got 10 minutes left. So I guess we're making more pages. You know what? I'm just going to use this anyway, because it doesn't super matter, I guess. Okay. You know what? Look at that. It looks like I can fold it in half and use it perfectly. Okay. Well, that's pretty handy. Handy dandy. Let's see. I don't know why I can't fold this right now all of a sudden. Like, forgot the mechanics of folding. Cool. Okay. There I was, trying to figure out how to tear my stupid paper on video. Okay. So it looks like all tracing papers do this on this with this ruler edge, which I'm fine with. Doesn't make no never mind to me. In case you're not aware, that was a reference to The Housekeeper from the original Parent Trap with Haley Mills. Which I think is still an awesome movie. I like that they take... I do like that they update some movies. I have some really fond memories of Jodie Foster and Freaky Friday, which was a book that I read repeatedly and loved the movie and watched it repeatedly. And but I don't think that I don't know that my kids would have enjoyed that version of it. I think that if they watched one, they could relate more to the one with Jamie Lee Curtis. And I think they redid that really well because Jamie Lee Curtis is excellent. Period. Jamie Lee Curtis is excellent. So, I just don't know that it would have had the same impact if they watched the older version of it. But again, there were some things that were just so funny, and they left them out in the new version. So I don't know. I think children should be forced to watch the old movies their parents watched. Compare and contrast. Children write an essay. Just kidding. Like I make my kids write essays. I try to make them write essays like when they're required for school. But that's about it. Okay. I'm going to put my ruler away. And I'm just going to see if this will tear nicely along. Nope, it will not. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut them all now. And then I'll have a big pile of pockets. In probably about 5 minutes. Oh, dang, right. 5 minutes left. So I'll just do what I can in 5 minutes. I don't know how much it'll be. I don't know how little. We will find out together. So, yep. Oh, so I got from my dad. Where'd it go? My dad or my brother? My dad and my brother. I think. I forgot to ask which part was from him. Because my gift from them had several parts. But this is what I got for Christmas. And it has all this really smooth paper in it that I can't wait to coffee dye some of. But also I'm going to write ideas in this journal. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so not all these are cut apart. I'm going to have time for like 2 more pockets. 1 pocket, 2 pockets. I think we're having air fried chicken tenders tonight. Because my husband's getting the air fryer out. Which is cool because we wanted to try it with different things. Well, the first day we got it, we made a big heaping pile of air fried French fries. And just sat around eating French fries that night. They were so good and crispy and yummy and not oily. And I'm very excited. I love air fryer. Whoops. Okay. So I think I'm going to glue these 2 and then I'm going to call it a video. And Terry, if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. And if you're not Terry and you're watching and you have any questions, you can reach me by emailing me. I will put my email address below. Or you can find me in the Wicked Crafty Mom group on Facebook. And you can ask me there. You can come hang out, lurk, watch, be inspired, be an inspiration. There's all sorts of ways to participate in the group. And I'm changing things around in the group a little bit. Not anything big. But that is all. Thank you so much for watching. And look for me on Instagram, wickedcrafty_mom. And Facebook. And that's it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.